All of our other appearances here have been panels, but we decided that we want to hear something which is from the ground, from people who experience what it is like to work on the ground. So that is why we decided to have the session. We will have a keynote address, and soon after, we will proceed with some of the stories. Uh, so just give us 2 minutes, and we will be back here.
Hi everyone. Uh, I'm Gautam. I'm from Balipara Foundation and I look after the operations for the foundation. I've been working with the foundation since quite a long time now. It's been, I think, since 2014. And through this time, I have got a huge opportunity to learn a lot of things actually from the communities. And it's been a long journey for me of experiences, getting to know a lot of communities of Eastern Himalayas, specifically in the northeast part of the part of India. And through this journey, though I am a master student in environmental science, but through this journey, what I have realized is whatever I have learned is actually it's high time for me to unlearn and to move on and to learn from the communities of this region. This community talk, I mean, if we talk about the biodiversity of this region, if we talk about the indigenous communities of this region, we have a lot to learn. And unfortunately, what we have forgot in our journey is that we forgot to live with the nature. We forgot that human were also a part of the nature, but unfortunately, in the course of development, we have totally forgotten that. And uh, this is why we are here talking about conservation, talking about bringing back ecology. But there were a time when human knew how to live with the environment and how to be the part of the environment. And it has never been late. uh, if we look at these communities, the indigenous communities in this part of the world, they still know how to live with the nature. They still they still know how to conserve the nature in their own way, in their own traditional way. They have never been, I mean, though they are totally dependent on the resources uh, that are available in the wild, but they have never exploited it, or they have never been in a situation when there is a threat. uh, while since in this session, I'll be sharing some of the case stories. I would really like to bring upon my experience on working with a tribe in Nagaland, where the tribe is totally out of touch from the mainland region of Nagaland. And they have been totally remote, and they have been conserving their own cultures and their uh, own tradition in their own way. And I mean, if we talk about all the situations that recently that we have been faced with, uh, s- I mean, be it COVID or be it other pandemics that we have faced, this particular community in Nagaland, they have never faced any of such pandemics in their life. This is because they have been living with the nature. They don't have a doctor in their village. The whole community never, I mean, they have never approached a doctor or a hospital in their lifetime. There are still there are still villagers in that community who are 110 plus year old, but they have no health issues. They don't have cancer. They don't have serious health issues, all because they have been equipped and they know how to live with the nature. The medicines that they use to cure themselves is from the forest where they live, where they are living in. If they have medical emergency during pregnancy, it's been cured inside the village. I mean, they have never been to a hospital throughout their lifetime. And because they know how to live with the nature, I believe that is the reason that is keeping them healthy, that is keeping them, I mean, that is enabling them to conserve their habitat where they are living in. And I believe if we learn from these communities, and if we learn how to live with the nature, if we believe that we are also part of nature, like any butterfly is, like an elephant is, like a tiger is, if we believe that we are part of the food chain, we are part of the food web, then I think I think we will be able to bring back the ecology to I mean to a point of time when there is no threat of conservation. With this, I would like to conclude here. Uh, Now I'd like to request Sahib Sheikh Sir, Head of External Affairs, Bangladesh, to join us here and deliver your keynote.
Thank you, Balipara Foundation, and everyone who joined with us. Our session is about ecology is economy. For this, I would like to call Sheikh Sabab Ahmed, Head of External Affairs, Borneo, Bangladesh, to share a few words. Thank you. Sorry for the convenience. We are taking some of your time. It's coming. Stay with us.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. On today's session on Ecology is Economy, we have a number of speakers who want to speak about their case stories, about the stories from the ground, people who have emerged from the ground, who have worked on the ground. We just saw what somebody from Balipara Foundation, our chief operating officer, speaking about it, about the challenges that they face on the ground, and about the importance of understanding ecological conditions and how it can impact or how it can bind well with economy. So now I would like to ask our keynote speaker to please come up on the stage and give the keynote address, Mr. Sheikh Shabab Ahmed.
Thank you, everyone. So I hope my slides will pop up here, right? So before the system gets on, so let me just introduce myself. So I'm Sheikh Shabab Ahmed. I'm working in British American Tobacco as head of external affairs. So I've been working in this organization for last 17 years, and BAT Bangladesh is very prominent on corporate social responsibility, and we have a significant CSR project in Bangladesh, as well as now we are moving from CSR journey toward ESG, environmental, social, and governance journey. So that's where I will just share a few of our flagship projects as best practices, which we are very proud to share with you, and we are sharing with all over Bangladesh so that other organizations can follow as well. So okay. So we all know about social and economical impact on climate change. So this is the area for the last 2 days. I hope there has been a lot of conversation going on that, and our topic, like ecology is economy, is very, very prominent. And I hope you all of us know here what's the impact of these changes. So let me just, I'll not go through the slides, rather than let me just touch upon one or two points. So say, for example, deforestation is a big issue. If we talk about from a Bangladesh perspective, the land to tree ratio, it's significantly lower. It's less than 10%, whereas it is recommended to be 20 to 25%. So currently, if there is a lot of deforestation happening, this impact goes to the carbon emission, and at the end of the day, it goes toward the coastal level to go up. So there is a logical chain reaction of each and every activity. If I talk about the later one, fresh water. So we have been working with, in the later on of my presentation, I will show, we have been working with fresh water solution for underprivileged people. So we have seen in Bangladesh, the coastal area, the proper water, drinkable water is scarce, and it's very difficult nowadays to provide them proper water. So it's another impact of the global and social ecological change we are facing. So moving on, so what is the price of this? So currently, it's a 2018-19 number. So Bangladesh allocated around $2.25 billion for this, for addressing this kind of ecological change. However, fast forward few years, Bangladesh has to spend 5 times of that money. It's around 12.5 billion. If we do not act now, what would happen is basically we have to spend 5 times more on this. However, this is not enough. So how we can change this? So there are some ways. So let me go one by one. One important point is carbon neutrality, and for that reason we have to promote renewable energy. So say, for example, even for our business, for other business, deforestation is a big issue. Unless we still, if we depend on wood fuel, then apparently we are causing bad to the ecology. So in that case, we have to move very quickly to the renewable energy. If we talk about health issues of our ecosystem, so what is happening, uh, if you grow the same thing in the same land, on and on, it will degrade the soil fertility. So the biggest example is Hyderabad, Punjab. So for the last few years, there was a green revolution, and everyone was talking about how Punjab is driving the green revolution. But currently, the water is scarce there because they have been pumping up water from there, and they were using it for the cultivation. Now water level has gone down in a significant level, so now it's kind of a drought situation there as well. So that's why maybe in a short term, yeah, we might be very happy with the outcome, but we need to think in the future long term perspective. So another very important perspective is avoid excess pollution. Few days back, there has been communication going on. It's about the Dhaka's, air pollution level. So it's so bad. It's kind of, yeah, I come from a cigarette industry, I understand, but even I don't smoke though. So it's kind of a every day. If you move around Dhaka city, it's equivalent to having 7 or 8 sticks of cigarette. So if you are not smoking, but you are getting equal air pollution through our current Dhaka's air system. So that is also impacting to your health in general, to the younger population as well. And there are a few other points as well. It's talking about not thinking about short term. The example I just shared about the green revolution in India. So they were only thinking about short term, they hasn't looked about the long term. So this kind of thinking is required. So let me go directly how we are contributing to society and what I wanted to present here. So we have 3 flagship projects: Dipto, Probaho, and Bonayon. So I'll go one by one. So Bonayon, in English it's afforestation. Bonayon in Bengali it's like gach lagano. So uh, from that perspective, this is a project we are very proud of, and we are very happy to showcase. We have been doing it for last 42 years. In 1980, when we started this in Bangladesh, there was no organization came up and started working on restoration of our ecosystem. So we did it in a small scale at that time, but right at this moment, if you look back our 42 years of journey, we have contributed around 120 million saplings all over, and most of it, 90 to 95% is the survival rate. So we are not only ensuring the saplings, we are also helping and trying to protecting these saplings so that we create a greener Bangladesh. And to do that, in recent time we have been giving around 5 million saplings every year. So last to last year, government committed to distribute around 10 million saplings. From a government perspective, we on additional, we propose like we'll be providing 5 million saplings. So that's the magnitude of the activity we are doing, and it has a direct connect to the SDG. This is very important. I hope in this room people understand why SDG is very important. By 2030, why we need to achieve the SDG goal for not only Bangladesh, for India or this patch of the world. It's a complete whole world. We need to ensure our SDG targets are met. So while this Bonan, we how we did it is basically we targeted few areas. So there are some flagship project we have done. 9 of them is here, not exhaustive list. So what we did when we started working in Kushtia, we saw there's a new bridge is going to have construct. So Lalon Shah Bridge, it connects two part of Bangladesh and that side. And what we found out, once the bridge is done, there's a barren land on the both side. So we started planting trees there. Now it's a green patch. It's kind of we have created a forest there. And for that particular reason, we have been given away the Prime Minister's Award for Afforestation. And among these 9 examples, for 5 of them, we have received the first prize Prime Minister Award on Afforestation in Bangladesh. Among all this, one particular project we are very, very proud of, and you understand, since 2018, Rohingya is a big issue for Bangladesh because we have given around a place for around 1 million people here. So they didn't have proper housing, so they had to depend on at that time had to do a lot of deforestation, and lot of housing happened at that time. However, we went there. We started working with different organization. We are not the only one, but together, what we did, we have changed that 2018 situation in 2020 like this. So this picture says it all. Rather than, I do not need to explain how that same area has becoming a green revolution, and this is even better now. So what we are doing, so let alone doing alone, we are bringing a lot of people together to doing a societal approach and ensuring how we can work toward a greener Bangladesh. So so far we have been in this journey, and now we have seen a lot of other organization is coming, and they're also joining hands together. So this is one particular example in terms of carbon neutrality. So we are doing this for last 42 years. If I move along, another story, it's about probaho. Probaho means a flow of water. In Bengali, it's probaho. So it's a story about ensuring safe drinking water. So around 13 years back in 2009, we have a very strong farmer base. So around 50,000 farmer we work with every day. So we saw a lot of farmers are becoming sick, and not about for any other disease. It's more about they are drinking arsenic water. So from that perspective, we started, because they are our direct stakeholder, we thought what we can do for them. So from that thinking, we started water purifying project, establishing water project. And from that time onward, in last 13 years, we have implemented 115 water project, and every day we are providing around 570 plus thousand liter of water free of cost to 280,000 people. And we didn't stop there. We didn't only covered arsenic prone area. Then what we thought about, in the Chittagong hill tracts area, in the highlands, there's a scarcity of water as well. So we went there. Once we did few of our project, then we moved to island like Saint Martin. So we went to Saint Martin Island, and we found out there's no proper water facilities for the people who lives in there. So we provided water facilities there as well. And then we moved to coastal area, because in the last 2 3 years, multiple cyclone disaster has happened, and for that reason, in the coastal area, people are not getting proper drinking water. So in last few in the last few years, we are working on that. And in 2020, we have implemented 6 projects in Satkira, which is the most impacted area of Bangladesh in terms of water. So these are the some of the example. And not only we are giving water supply to that vicinity of people from outside, inside Sundarban, they are coming and they are taking water in these boats and in the cans, and they're taking water inside the Sundarban area as well. So this is how we are ensuring that people are getting safe drinking water. Because of the ecological change, the salinity has increased in that area, and there's a scarcity of fresh drinking water, and that's the solution from us. Moving on, the third project we work with is called Dipto. Dipto in English is a ray of light. So it's from the name you can understand what the project is all about. It's about ensuring household giving electricity in the household level. So what we did in 2011, we have some farmers in Chittagong Hill Tracts area. So we went there, we found out, even when I personally went there, after 5 it's all dark, there's no life, and they have to wait till sunlight to get something. So then we thought how we can change these people's life. So we went there with small solar home system, where you can plug in your you can charge your mobile. There are 2 3 port for light. There are facilities for electric fan as well, and also some people are using television there as well. And now if you go there in after 10 years, you'll find out at dark, when their life used to stop, now people are studying, young generation. The women in the household, they are working and they are weaving their indigenous craftsmanship, and all these things, economic activities are happening. So eventually, by only giving electricity, you have changed their quality of life. So from that perspective, currently Bangladesh government has could provide electricity all over the Bangladesh. That's why we are not focusing on this project. However, we are piloting another one. You know, there is only one green district in Bangladesh. It's Rajshahi, and in Rajshahi, they are ensuring electronic EVs, electric vehicles, the three wheelers. So what we did, we went there and we have started working with them to introduce lithium ion battery along with charging those lithium ion batteries with the solar power. So they are not taking any electricity from the national grid. They're completely depending on renewable energy, and those batteries are ensuring longer service time. So through this system, we're ensuring these EVs are working properly and in less, energy consumption. So this is one project we have done, and it's so far successful. We are thinking about scaling it much more higher going forward. So these are the few projects we have been doing. There one particular example I wanted to also highlight. It's not about this three project, how we embed this kind of culture to the wider audience. So what we did through our farmers, we are ensuring carbon smart farming. We are ensuring alternate furrow irrigation. It looks simple, but it saves lot of water. So generally in Bangladesh practice in agriculture arena, what we found out, people used to put water in the two furrows of a land. But if you can give water in one furrow and give another free, then apparently you are using less water and giving this equal output. So that kind of small research we have done, and then we have introduced in our farmers, so that farmers are using less groundwater. And last but not least is the waste disposals. So that is also very important, because at the end of the day, sometimes farmers use fertilizer, some kind of agrochemicals. So you need to understand this waste are going to the ground, and it's creating the impacting ecology. So finally, definitely all this activity was acknowledged by our government. Then international awards we have received few. There's a long road ahead. I've just given you an example of last 42 years what BAT Bangladesh has done, but we have to do more as collectively, not as a company, as a society. So the way we think, I think this is the time where we should create massive awareness among all of us. And I think I would like to thank Balipara Foundation here to arrange such a nice last 3 days event, which is basically doing the purpose, the creating the right awareness. And after that, we need to embed it in ourselves, not only us, among the society, and we need to start practicing that. Eventually, our vision to become a developed country by 2041 as a Bangladesh, then we will be called as a ecology champion. So it's a journey of next 20 years where we need to just build on step by step, so that at the end of when we will be a developed country, we will be also called a ecology champion as well. And for that journey, every action should be accountable. And how you account your activity? By doing these reports. So we are the first company in Bangladesh to bring this ESG report. It's available in the internet. You can go and see exactly how we are creating impact in the society. Not only us, other organization, the like Unilever, the Grameen Phone, they're also following the footprint what we started in Bangladesh for the first time. So that's how the biggest organization are following the similar path, and we encourage other organization, not only multinational, also the local, to follow this. Lastly, the last slide I have, we need public private partnership. We cannot do it alone. As a private company, we are doing it. As a public organization, government is also doing a lot of things. So we need to do it together. We need to shake hand, and together we need to address this 2030 SDG targets. Then we will be able to protect our ecology. And finally, I would like to say, we are a business organization. Economy is very important. If you do not protect your ecology, your economy will not provide. You will not get that dividend. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm happy to take any question if you have. So right at this moment,
Yeah.
we are not adding any water. We are only providing safe drinking water to individual. But this is a concern which we have doing a pilot on, because we are using groundwater right at this moment. But this is not a future proof solution. So as a pilot project in recently in Shatkira, what we did, we just got a natural pond, and we are trying to purifying that pond water into a drinkable water. So maybe fast forward 5 to 10 years, we'll be able to tell you exactly we are not using any more groundwater, and we are just harvesting the rainwater, or we are just using the available water and making it drinkable. That's the future plan is.
No, that's good. I think sometimes because you are quite progressive in your thinking, and I myself am very proud of my tobacco heritage. I do not have any hesitation to say that. The question is that actually you're not a tobacco company, you're an agroforestry company. If you look at the forest percentage that you've done and number of natural assets, and they're not trees, they're natural assets, because there's carbon plus, there's water, there's fertility, there's a whole lot of humus. So I think as an agroforestry company, I think you should not be shy of what you're doing. And you should come forward and say that you are actually Bangladesh's most organized agroforestry company. That is one. Two, your agroforestry consists of plantations, which you are doing, but actually ecological plantations and plantation. Thirdly, you're also doing cash crops, which includes tobacco, but includes other things. So we should not be shy of that. Thirdly, you're also helping in the entire ecosystem of what I call carbon plus, which is the fact that you're helping all these families to gain an income, including tobacco farmers, whose families are less dependent on uh, the public system for health and education. So I'm not suggesting that anybody starts going and smoking, especially in college or school. That's a choice. And as long as it's a legal product, there's no harm in actually doing it. It's like saying butter is not good for you. But then that doesn't mean that we have to feed somebody with butter or ghee or say that is not, good or that is bad, therefore we ban it. Because all of it is the same. Finally, it depends on what consumption patterns you have. It's a personal choice, etc. So I think just going by your presentation, both based on energy, based on agroforestry, and based on what do you call energy and water, these four elements for your actually qualifies you to be one of the most progressive agroforestry companies in Asia.
Thank
So
you
you
very
should
much.
you should be very proud of that, and we are very proud to associate with you. And actually, we should have Karishma had a interview with the press, because I think very often people like us get defensive, and I know there are problems because the other side of people who don't think that you all are doing good want actually to take advantage of you and write the negative thing. But we are quite happy to have a series of dialogues with people and make people say what is good in terms of an agroforestry company. But thank you for your support and help. You've been one of the first people who came forward to support us indirectly through your Bonani program. And we're very happy to be associated with all your programs without any sort of shame or without any kind of negative feeling. And we are not there just to take advantage of one meeting, but this is not a money-making venture. This is an awareness venture
Yeah.
for Bangladesh for us. You could see yesterday and today, we don't have enough people. Imagine we have tied up with the Bangladesh University primarily because they said they've got 10,000 students. They will easily get people. They will have teachers. They will have opinion leaders. And we did not succeed in that. But this is the journey of it's a big journey. It's like your journey of defense. Our journey of, what do you call, to partner you is not only a journey of defense, but offense, saying that we are doing good. You know what I mean? We believe we are doing good. We don't know if our critics say anything else, but if somebody can have an idea of saying that it is bad, we are quite happy to try and understand that so that we can correct what bad we are doing.
Thank you very much. I just think like everything needs to start somewhere. Maybe this is the beginning of something new. So that's where it doesn't matter how many people are here in this room, how many people we can reach. Maybe if we can create even 10 advocates from here, that has a ripple impact of 10 to 100 10,000. So that is the journey we are in. That's why in our roadmap we are showing next 2 to 3 years time we need to voice it out and go out to the public. And if we can create 1,000 ambassadors, we can easily reach 1 million as soon as within a couple of days. So that's our the journey we are in. And thank you very much for
Mr.
giving the floor.
I think there are other people who want to one
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
I'm
Mr.
also happy to address some of the questions.
Mr. Ahmed, we have a question from the viewers online. They've commented or questioned. Forest Department has initiated a great investment for restoration to the degraded and denuded land, forest land. About 60 lakh 60 hectare already has been restored. 32 types of plantation intervention under Sustainable Forest Livelihoods Project. Uh, I think that's a question or to you, or statement or comment.
I think that's a
Anything?
statement, but I can add few
তুমি
lines with that.
বাংলায় বলো না,
হ্যাঁ।
আমরা তো বাংলা বুঝি।
ওকে ওকে সো
বলো।
আমি যেটা অ্যাড করতে পারি এখানে সেটা হচ্ছে কি ফরেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্টের সাথে বনায়ন আমাদের যে প্রকল্পটা আছে আমরা একসাথে কাজ করছি। গত 2 বছর আগের থেকেই আমরা বাংলাদেশের 13টা জেলায় বাংলাদেশের যে ফরেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্ট আছে তাদের সাথেই আমরা একসাথে কাজ করছি। সুতরাং আমার কাছে মনে হয় যে লাস্টে আমি যেটা বললাম যে প্রাইভেট পাবলিক পার্টনারশিপ একটা দরকার। সো সেখানেই আই থিঙ্ক ফরেস্ট ডিপার্টমেন্ট যেই কাজটা করছে সেটার সাথে যদি আমরাও যুক্ত হতে পারি, so together we can create a bigger impact. I think the statement is correct. Forest department is doing fantastic work and we are just being partner with them. That's
একটা
it.
একটা জিনিস আমি ভাবি, এটা বাংলায় বললে আমরা বললাম প্রকৃতি আর অর্থনীতি, এই দুটা জয়েন করলে এটা তো নেচারনমিক্স না।
Yeah,
তা প্রকৃতি না হলে তো অর্থনীতি হবে না, না?
হবে না।
তো লোকরা বলতে পারে আমার বাগানি অত ভালো নয় কিন্তু আমি বুঝতে পারি পুরো।
আমার কাছে এটাই মনে হয় the biggest example in the ecological year is we can look around India's green revolution. So last 10 to 15 years that was fantastic and the world was focusing on them, what they have done there. But nowadays let's see how that nature has come back and said no, enough of it. So I think এইটা আমাদেরকে চিন্তা করতে হবে, we have to do things in sustainable manner. So that's where sometime as a business organization, we also run for a growth and eventually we lose lot of, we lose sustainability of our initiatives. So that's where we need to work on going forward. So আমরা চাই গ্রোথ হবে, ইকোনমিক ডেভেলপমেন্ট দরকার, আদারওয়াইজ আমরা দেশে কে উন্নত দেশে পরিণত করতে পারবো না। বাট কিভাবে করছি, দ্যাট ইজ অলসো ইম্পর্টেন্ট। ইট হ্যাজ টু বি আ সাস্টেনেবল জার্নি।
I think there's some more questions.
Yeah,
Please,
two things. One is this is not question, basically to comment. First thing is you have put this SDG. I think the three things that you are working on. One is the energy, water, and forest. Basically, addressed all 17 SDGs. It's not only two. That you have missed, I think, the water, which is the SDG 6, clean water, because
Yeah.
you are working on arsenic. So I think that's one thing that you should put. And when you are talking about the solar energy, it's also entrepreneurship, because then it's also addressed to your decent work, that SDG 10,
Yeah.
SDG 8, and so I think there is some.
No,
you can
fantastic.
add-
Thank you very much. I think recently we have started working with the Prime Minister's SDG wing, and that individual was telling me exactly the same thing. Yes, you are directly engaging in this 8 SDGs as a BAT, but that has a ripple effect on others.
Yes.
So together, it's all are interconnected.
It is
So
interconnected.
in
yeah.
fact, this 17, if you start working on with few, eventually you create impact on 17.
Yes.
So
And
thank you very
the,
much for
the
highlighting that.
17 number, the goal 17 is most important, because that's a partnership, and you end up with saying that partnership is important, private, public, and government and community. I think all four kind of. So SDG 17 is also a part of this.
Thank
The
you.
another thing I would like to add here is the green revolution part that you were mentioning. I think no, that's not last 10-15 years. We are fantastic. We were doing good 90s and early to 2000s, but last like 10 years it's already
Diminishing
downturn.
return.
Yeah, and we have a lot of health effect. There's a cancer train going from Punjab to Rajasthan. The name of the train became cancer because of the overusing of pesticides. The entire community is now having huge health impact. So yeah, green revolution one way was good because that was the hunger, and that the hunger index is now going down, but there are other problems that have come up, so we have to think sustainable solution, not that one point solution. Thank
No,
you.
And I think that's
that is
why,
very well put. Sorry.
yeah, and that's why I think the UN also thought about rightly, like Millennium Development Goal change into a sustainable development goal. So if it's not sustainable, we will lose out our ecology. So
No, that is true. Just to add a few points, just so that we can take these thoughts home. One is, you see, Bangladesh has the most interesting plan from the leadership. Meaning, individuals are prime ministers and all, they'll come and go. But just the thinking that yesterday, what was being said in our discussions on the first day, it is the only country which says that climate change is a prosperity plan. No other country says. They're not looking at it a negative plan, climate change plan, ye destruction plan, wo hai, ye hai. But it is not the case. They are the only country who says, and everybody here who's from Bangladesh and the sub-Himalayan region, because I'm part of this region and therefore part of this geography, is that it is a plan to emulate, to say everybody back home, let us create a prosperity plan. The Mujib prosperity plan is one of the best plans architecturally. It's big, it's difficult maybe to achieve, but at least it's a the word is positive. So I think we must take positivity out of these countries.
and
So,
if I just add with you, it not stops there.
yes.
It went to 2000 to 2100 is the Delta plan.
Delta.
So
I
there's
know.
a long-term thinking as well. That's where the sustainability is required. And I also want to thank here with Balipur Foundation, because every time we are not talking about our geography, we are not talking about Bangladesh, we are not talking about India, Bhutan, Nepal. We are talking about a borderless world.
Yes.
This is very important. So we cannot achieve only target of Bangladesh unless and until our neighbors together, we are not, everyone is working together hand in hand, will not be able to achieve it.
And two other points. You see, for knowledge, if anybody is getting bored, just put up your hand. I'll stop. Is that, you see, fluoride and arsenic is a problem nothing to do with Bangladesh. It's a problem starting in Assam Valley. The highest fluoride is in Assam Valley. You see, arsenic and fluoride is an aquifer management problem. We've done a book on water, and if you get hold of it, it's called Water. It's on the net. We have addressed this issue. And this issue is not easily solvable. And what is happening upstream is happening downstream, point one. To your other point, all the rivers, if all the glaciers melt, who will be affected most? You. We are okay, I'm saying we are a little high up country, we'll find resilient crops and all. But if you have only water, meaning other than hydroponics, you have very little to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think this thing of arsenic and fluoride is a much deeper issue, and they cannot solve it. This requires a human endeavor because of this changing geology of what do you call aquifers. So just keep that in mind. We are happy to direct. We don't know the answer, by the way, so
Yeah.
we can't give you advice, but I'm sure nobody can give advice as yet, but we can try and evolve an advice. Secondly, you have another very success story, and I'll stop with that. I like to give success case studies. There's a case study session. That is, in Bangladesh, they've created a solar network in the village of hub and spoke. Nowhere else in the world they've been able to do it so successfully in a village. And this village was awarded an Earthshot Award last year in New York. That is the model to go.
Yeah.
Least wastage, least distribution loss, least transmission loss, highest productivity. So if 1 watt is produced, actually the guy gets 0.90 watt, not zero point 0.5 watt, which is lost in distribution and otherwise. So I think that's the plan that you should use there. I'm sure you are,
Yeah.
but I think just by random putting in solar lights and solar bulbs, not the answer, as yet.
Yes, I think to add with you here, government has came up with a fantastic solution of net metering. So even if your household, if you produce what electricity, whatever you are not consuming, you can give it back to the national grid. And government has came up with such a fantastic proposal and policy. So together we can also invest in our house, in the solar panels as well, so that we consume our required one, and the rest of the thing I can give it back to the government, to the national grid, where you can earn some and you can help some. That's it. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheikh Sabab Ahmed, for your enlightening speech. Now, I would like to call Geetika Goswami, Associate Vice President and Lead Policy Research and Planning Development Alternatives Groups. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. And really, it's a privilege for me to be here. Thank you, Balipara Foundation, for the invitation. And, last 2 days have been really, it's kind of enlightenment to listen from all those very eminent speakers all across the world. And that's an excellent job to bring together everyone. And I really feel, it's in Bangladesh, but I would say rather we could do it in India also. Like, so many people across the world is here, and to have the opportunity to listen. So now I'm coming to the case study that we have done in Bundelkhand. Just to start with, before I start, I'll come to the title of the case study a little later. Before that, I just want to introduce my organization. This is Development Alternative Groups. We are a 40 years old organization. We started in 1982. And I think you might have already know Dr. Khosla. He was there. He was the founder chairperson, and he started this organization in 1982. Our vision is a world where every citizen can live a secure, healthy, and fulfilling life in harmony with nature. And our mission is to deliver and promote sustainable solutions that enable resilient economies for everyone, especially for the women, for the vulnerable communities, for farmers. This is our journey so far. Basically, we work in three main areas: innovation, influence, and footprint. So these are three different colors. So these are some of these milestones that we have achieved from 1980s to 2020. So these are basically the achievements, male milestone for 10 years gap. This is what our approach is. Our approach is to address the resources, to address the livelihoods and the climate. So while we talk about the resources, we talk about how to do resource efficiency and circular economy approach, accelerating the transition into inclusive and circular models of production and consumption by reducing carbon and material footprint across the lifestyles of the economy. When we talk about livelihood, we talk about the livelihood security, where rural and backward people can have their livelihoods, and they can come out from the poverty. When we talk about the climate resilience and ecosystem restoration, we talk about all this work that my previous speaker just talked about the afforestation, ecosystem restoration, and so on. Not only that's for the ecology of the area, but also for the economy of the area, the livelihoods of the people. So these are some of the impact numbers. So this is what empowered communities, clean and green environment, and income generation activities. So when we talk about these three areas of approach of the climate, resources, and livelihood, we mainly talk about, when we talk about climate, we talk about sustainable agriculture, safe water, climate finance. The resources, we talk about waste management, human settlement, basically the buildings material sector, and sustainable housing solutions. We talk about green energy. When we talk about job, we talk about decent work, empowering communities, and sustainable enterprise. So this is our footprint in India. We are, you can see this. The pointer doesn't work. Oh, okay. It is not. It don't work in the screen. Okay, so you can see the center part of it. It is the black one is the Bundelkhand area, which is covering 6 districts of MP and 7 districts of UP. There is which is our Karma Bhumi. Otherwise, we are also working in other geographies as well. This is our global footprint. Mainly, we are working in India and Southeast Asian countries and Africa and South America. Mainly for South Africa and South America, we are working on the technology transfers, basically the green technologies. So these are some of the initiative, the flagship initiative that we are working, the sustainable agriculture, which includes the adoption of sustainable collective methods, collection of the market and technology enhancement. There is a natural resource management. I think more of these work are also in Bangladesh. Also, the many organizations are working on watershed development, water for all and always. We are having some of the technologies that we have, especially in the water sector. One is the access to clean and drinking water, clean drinking water. But we are working on locally owned and locally operated water system. We are also working on water testing kit that we have to. This is the qualitative testing, or whether you have. There are 14 parameters: arsenic. Fluoride, nitrate, pH, and temperature. So, like there's 14 parameters that we can really do testing, and it's a qualitative testing. So you don't give the exact number, but you can have a qualitative study that whether it is wrong or right. So there's a color code, and you can say that. And anyone and everyone can do this test, and we are now working a lot in some of these states. We are working now in Udaipur, where we are working with the communities as a citizen science network, working with the students just to see that whether the drinking water that they are having, but whether it is within the permissible limit, the fluorine, chlorine, or any other elements are should not be above the permissible limit. So we are actually working with the citizen science network uh, to have the awareness, to have the data, and to provide this data to the municipalities to take decision on what to do. We are also working on several water management techniques with one of the Japanese company here in Uttar Pradesh. This is some of these entrepreneurship models: gender centric, poultry farming, e-rickshaw, and here e-rickshaws are run by women. That's a wonderful initiative that we have started, and a lot of UP and MP, which is little backward states, still these women are have their own e-rickshaws, and they are earning, and then by the way they are also contributing to the decision making of the families. We are also working on several other entrepreneurship schemes, like spice cultivation and spice packets. This is also through the SHGs. Then there is a agri based clusters. There is a green building material and infrastructures that we are working, and mainly working with the technology transfer in Africa and South America and Southeast Asian countries as well. Now coming to the main case studies today, where ecology is economy. Coming to this, you can see this is the area which is called Bundelkhand, and there is a real problem in Bundelkhand when we started like 40 years back. There was an environmental problem, social problem, and economic problem. So Bundelkhand is one area where we have very less rainfall, and also the time period of the rainfall is like very few days with huge rainfall. So that, but most of these, due to these rainfall, the huge water which is available is just rushing out, so there is a huge runoff. There is also a lot of migration. Their human development index is really very low. Literacy index is very low, and there is also uh, uh, mostly people are population is dependent on agriculture, but due to the scarcity of the water, these people are also not getting proper food from these areas. So with this background, we started 40 years back. We started working, first thing that we started working on watershed development by soil water conservation, water use efficiency, reduce runoff, and increase groundwater recharge. Then we started working at the same time on the afforestation part. And somewhere, we, like 40 years back, one of these hill areas that we selected was basically as a barren land. So what we did is, we just allowed that area, we fences that area, allowed the area for regeneration. And you won't imagine this, 20 years time, the entire area is full of the indigenous variety of plants. And that is actually helping communities to reduce the runoff, to have more water in their wells, and that's also helped the groundwater recharge at the same time. At the same time, we started working on climate resilient agri practices. So WADI model, which is agri horti, agri pasture, agri medicinal plant. So that is integrated farming system, along with poultry farming and fish farming and all. We also started the Vami composting, which is one of the very local green enterprise, and done by the youth of of the area. We also started on climate adaptive planning. So whatever small areas they have, in villages, the average land holding is less than 2 hectare. Within this 2 hectare, a household of 4 to 5 members really cannot survive if you get only one time the crop. So we started planning which kind of crop would be good for them, entire season, entire the year, how many crops they can come up with. So one is rice is important, rice and wheat for this 2 season. But between the season, they are coming up with the vegetable cultivation. Then they are started spice making. So that's how their capacity being developed, and their earnings also kind of increased. Along with all these ground level activities, we work on research and policy influence. We work on training and capacity development, as well as the outreach and awareness creation through rural communication channel. I think I have already mentioned about the community radio in my previous session. uh, so these are different policy influence and research and policy. So one of our wing, which I is actually leading to, is a policy wing. We work a lot on different policies. So our work is main on practice to policies, the learnings that we get from the I have to come. Okay, okay. Okay, I'll do it quickly. So these are the different policy briefs that we prepare out of the implementation work, and then we also do a lot of workshops with the policymakers, make them aware about the issues. And that's how I'm coming. This is the training and capacity development for all sorts of communities, for all sorts of stakeholders, starting from students, communities, farmers, and government stakeholders. This is the community radio initiative that I already have said. Now I'm coming to the evaluation of this ecosystem services, the work that we have done. So as you know, that the work that we have done is already mentioned. Based on that, we did a evaluation of the ecosystem services of the and we adopted the methodology called economics of land degradation, and also the mapping with SDGs and other goals. So the outcome of these initiatives are local level livelihoods benefit, that we got agriculture, livestock, and other agro-based products and livestock. We have improved access to water, strengthening of human and social and cultural capital due to when their food security is ensured, at the same time the community awareness and skill being developed, reduction in migration, functioning with the community-based institutions started working, sustenance of the natural resources based culture activities and healthcare practices, ecosystem benefits like positive biodiversity impact and improvement of the soil carbon. Then there is also the contribution of several SDGs. I can now that SDG 1, 2, and SDG 6, the water, SDG 8, 12, 13, and 15, and 17. I think you all know of these SDGs. Not only the SDGs, we are also contributed for the land degradation neutrality, which India government has 23 million hectare by 2030. Then the Convention of the Biological Diversity, which is CBD target, the CBD COP is going on right now at Montreal, and then also the intended national determined contribution, the NDCs. So these are the calculation based on that evaluation studies. So I'll come just very quickly. So we have done natural capital calculation, social capital, cultural capital, and human capital. The total is this, that we have taken actually 30 villages total, 18 of the intervention villages and 12 of the control villages where no activities had been done. And out of these 30 villages, we have also done this study of before the intervention and after intervention, 2013 and 2018, that 5 years have been taken. And here we could see that, you can see the last two highlighted portion, that out of 3.9 crore of investment, we have received 517 crore results, which is basically per crore of investment 132 crore of results that has come up, which shows that it's a huge potential that we should really invest on nature. And our the return is unparalleled. I saw in the previous session, there was one eminent speaker was saying, are you really looking at your bank account or really looking at how much water you have? Now now there's a time has come that where we should really invest to uh, quickly come up. These are the different SDGs through this intervention we are really addressed to. And this is the opportunity and policy recommendation where I really want to talk about the results of the economic valuation showed that the benefits received from the natural farming is unparalleled. The study also corroborate with the study of the World Economic Forum. There they have come up with the study saying that investing $1, the same time within 1 year you are getting $9 of output. And I would also like to quote what Dr. Dashgupta has said. He said that if you don't do anything and you just allow regeneration, within a year of time you will get 19% back. Your return is 19%, which no mutual fund can give you that kind of return. So there's a time that we now have to realize that where to invest and how to invest. This is one of the study which I'm sorry, this is one of the study you can actually say, putting investment on the natural capital, it's really the green recovery. We are, due to COVID pandemic, we all talks about no green recovery. But what is green recovery? This is what that we have to put, where to invest and how to invest. But there is also like a lot of policy debate on that. A lot of scientists and ecologists are all talking about the ecology is economy, but I think still there is a lot of gap of the policymaker doesn't understand that way. So there is so this generation, we all have to really come together, convince the policymaker that this is the issue now. Investing in nature will really give not only the entire humanity, all the policymakers also will have much more benefit when they have to come back in the next term. And that this thing has to be included into the policies. I think internationally, globally, we have to have a framework that is still lacking. And then there is a lot of opportunities to work across countries with the scientists and ecologists to really come up with a framework how to measure these returns. And then that's how we can really convince the policymaker. Thank you so much. If there is any question, yeah.
Space of regenerative and circular economy, if I may put it that way, much before anybody else. Dr. Khosla, when he came back, he's a incredibly qualified person in terms of education in MIT, Harvard, Cambridge. He's and spoken everywhere. He's the first Indian to be in head of IUCN.
Yes.
He's also the first Indian to have been there of inter-science committees across the world. His contribution is second to none. But I think what is really important is what he has laid is the foundation stone to show himself that we have done work on the ground, and his action oriented research is really commendable. So thank you for coming. I know yours was a last minute coming because when Ashok told me that he wanted more people to come, it would be good. But we can always, with Balipara Foundation and people that you want, come and brainstorm in your wonderful office, and plus good food, nice
Yes.
forestry, good air in
Yeah.
Delhi. So we'll be very happy, and thank you for a very comprehensive and focused discussion. And congratulations on 40 years for DA. It's been
Thank you.
fantastic. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Thank you, Geetika Goswami, for your beautiful speech. Now, I would like to call Mahfouz Russell, founder of Pita Chhara Forest and Biodiversity Conservation BFA awardee. Please come on stage.
Uh, Many thanks to Balipara Foundation for having me here. I've been really honored by Balipara. Okay, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be quick. Um, I moved back from Manchester 6 years ago in Bangladesh, and after it was 15 years I was in UK, and I moved back. I went straight to Khagrachuri Hill District at Khagrachuri. So I live in a small village where there's a forest patch there. It wasn't much left in the forest though, and I was loving it, because I love forest. I lived with the tribes, Amazon. I lived with tribes in Africa, several countries. I lived with the tribe people, so I have kind of this fascination living in the forest. Um, in one point, I've seen how people hunting, poaching, burning forest, slashing all the plants and everything, and that's their normal, regular nature behavior of people. Uh, and that struck me that I can't actually. I might be able to enjoy what the plants, trees in my area, but it's not going to last very long. So then I started conservation. So far, I acquired about 23 acres of land, or is the whole forest there. And I don't do much, really, be honest. I don't plant there. I just let it grow. And it was successful completely. And I actually saw that, in the nature, you don't need to do much. You just let it grow, and it will take it, Um, and a lot of there are mammals, small mammals there, quite a lot. Some of them endangered, like slow loris, might know, one of the endangered species. Quite a few of them in my area now, and there are like porcupines almost gone, almost all hunted, but now some are coming back. Things like that, like some of the bird species have been coming back. Right. I've been doing this, and that, when I was doing this, I've realized that I need the local community need to get involved in it. And in that perspective, what I did, um, because the people this community is really quite poor economically, and there are about three different tribal people there, and the Bangladeshi people lives there, and they don't have much harmony in between the Bangladeshi people and the tribal people. They don't have much harmony. It's a quite old politics there. That's why. So I had to do few things to make them, make these things happen, so they can understand the awareness of not doing stuff like hunting and stuff like that. uh, uh, so I do that awareness once every week in different villages. And also I opened a general public library so they can learn about these things, because I've seen that if you don't have the education I'm not talking about the school education or anything, just like a general education. So I keep those sort of books, so like kids can learn, and then in future they will be the youth volunteer. That's what I believe. And it has changed, actually it has changed quite a lot. And now we do cultural programs, um, art camps. So these art camps actually is a social, like social movement. So through the art, through the music, we try to teach people what's the importance of the nature. And I've been doing it for last 1 year, this camp, and it's gonna go on. We're gonna do some exhibitions, some shows around the villages and in the Dhaka. So for why I'm gonna show in the Dhaka, that's because I want the new policy to come in action, and that's gonna happen, I'm sure. There are several other things I did for the community, like I opened a hospital, free clinic. It's been 5.5 years. So I serve about 10,000 people around the area. It's completely free. Um, I've done some training, for the people, like women there, so they can make money while they're working beside their works at home, like handicrafts and like sewing. I gave them free sewing machines, so now so they can earn some money, right, beside their homeworks. Uh, I did quite several other things. Oh, okay. I did another thing, and that was quite big actually. I did the. I think I'm the first person in Bangladesh who actually did 1 year project of reusable sanitary pad. There are other people did, other organizations did, but that was like a very short term. I did for a whole 1 year, and my goal was to achieve 50%, but actually we achieved 70%. So that's quite good. I'm gonna keep carrying doing it, but. One thing was thing is that, like, how I did that. And you need money to do these things, a lot of money. What I did is, like, I had a house in Manchester, I sold it, and I started living very minimal. I had a time when I was almost living without money, zero money. That was my actually goal a while ago, but it didn't happen because I moved back. In Bangladesh you cannot do that really here, which is quite easier, probably. Not easier, it's difficult, but it's kind of, you can manage, you can live without money, without currency, like notes. Yeah. So that was my goal, but now it's different. And I sold my house, then I actually invest all the money, not investing actually, I'm spending all the money in my work, my like clinics, the public libraries, the tuitions, different trainings, the awareness program, a lot of other things like that, you know. And I had to buy quite a lot of lands. And now few of my friends also joined. It's been like 2 years, and they put some money in it, so which is quite nice. uh, but this is not sustainable, definitely. So we got some plans, so hopefully we'll make say for some sort of tourism, but not, I wouldn't say ecotourism, because it's become like ecotourism, which is kind of I've seen the ecotourism, quite a lot of ecotourism actually destroy the nature. So we're going to be very selective, like maybe working with the universities, something like that. So people who is doing the research and stuff like that, they'll be able to go only. So um, also I'm gonna do some sustainable farming cultivation, like for example mushroom, maybe mushroom, because you don't need to cut or slash or burn that forest to do the mushroom cultivation. So, and this kind of, I think I need to do more, so that brings the economy to the local community, and they will be less involved in cutting the forest. I think another thing I forgot to mention, why the forest has been cutting and burning and slashing so much in our area. So main 2 points is, I think one is for the brick fields. They use that as a fuel for brick fields, and that happens a lot every winter. It started winter, it goes on for 6 months, and this is one big reason. Another reason is uh, monoculture. Yeah, that's massive, the monoculture. I think this is the very big distraction for them, because no one can tell anything, it's a funny that a lot of organization actually knows that monocultures are bad, but you still do it. I don't understand why. No idea. And this is really frustrating. Who gonna tell them? So we need to have some policies. And people like me can't make policy. I'm very simple. I'm very small, tiny. So you guys probably got the connection and everything. So we need to make some policy. What you can do, what you cannot do. Like for example, I got that name of my organization. It's not my organization actually. A small thing. It's called Pita Chora. They start with the Pita Chora. Pita Chora. Pita is a bird. Yeah, this is one of the bird, very famous bird. And Chora is the natural stream. Yeah, that's called natural stream. So that keeps the biodiversity of this area. And now I need to save the chora because chora is dying slowly because when people cut the trees, what happens? Chora slowly died. The water goes dries out. That happens, and that already happened for, like, I checked when before I came to this event a few days ago, a couple of days ago. I worked 2 days with SWO maps, satellite mapping over the phone, so you can actually map it, and I mapped it. uh, 400 meter from on the beginning of the stream, one of the beginners is died completely. And so that's gonna die one day like this. So I need to save it, so there's no policy for it. So I'm trying now. I'm gonna try to get other people, just people like Bella. You might know Bella. Do you know about Bella? Bella is the Rejuana. Soyad Rejuana she's one of the prominent lawyer. So, and I could talk to the district commissioner, so we can have some kind of policy that they can stop people to not to do things like that. Anyway, I can keep going. It's not gonna be good because you guys must be tired. I'm gonna say thanks to everyone. Especially, I'm gonna give a big thanks to the team who worked behind this event. They are the legend. I would say. I just heard yesterday they've been working day and night for a very long time. Okay, should we give them a big applause? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Yes, yes. Nah, I don't want to be idealistic anymore. I was, but I don't want to be. That's why I came out. That's how I came out. I mean, no one used to know about me actually about 6 months ago, apart from my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Only because a few years ago, the BBC wanted to take my interview, like some other media. They wanted to take my interview. I didn't, I just said no. I don't want it because I'm leaving it. It's fine. I sometimes I feel like this heroism is not great stuff. You kind of lose on the way the things you want to do.
Yeah.
So I avoided for a long time. But just a few months ago, first time I gave interview with BBC, and that's why people got to know. That's why I'm here, actually here.
This indigenous people that you live with,
Yeah.
meaning those indigenous people, who pays them for their knowledge?
Say again.
Who pays indigenous people for their knowledge? They have got more knowledge than us. So
No,
who pays them? They know a lot about agriculture.
They knows a lot about it, but the problem was like a lot of Bangladeshi has been moved in from 1982 and 1983. So there was a settler movement basically.
Yeah.
So that's why they lost their own tradition.
Own rights, yeah.
Yeah, because their house is not the same again. They eat with now. Before they never used to use the oil and stuff like that. They use oil. They don't cook the way they used to cook, most of them, and also they try to follow the Bangladeshi culture.
Yeah.
And another thing is that the way they do the cultivation was that's called Zoom cultivation,
Zooming,
if you know,
yeah.
zooming, yeah. So zooming is the way they used to, because there's less population in this
Yeah,
area.
they could move
They could
around.
move around. So come to the same place would take 10 years.
Yeah, that's
So now they can't move anywhere because it's the same place, same land, same, So
Are they Garos mostly? Garos?
No, there's the Tripura mostly, then
Tripurian Chakmas.
Tripurian,
Chakma.
Chakma, Marma.
Man.
Marma.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You've
you,
been-
thank you.
You're an inspiration to us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mahfouz Rasil, for your enlightening speech. Now, I would like to call Karman Nanda from the Club of Rome to share his thoughts with us. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, Balibara Foundation, for having me here. And I'm back in Bangladesh. It feels good. Yeah. So I don't come from the case study department. I think it's the last talk, so it's more of a food for thought. Water for thought, precisely. My bad. So I used to give this talk in Bangladesh a while back, and it was actually in schools and universities. And I'd initiated by asking people that, what do you think gives you life? You know, when you're born, you're actually lied to. You're told that, hey, you're breathing, you're alive. But oxygen is what is actually oxidizing you, and you're slowly dying because of it. So, what is it that gives you life? And I'd ask around in the crowd, and eventually water would come up as an answer. There is a very strong connection between um, earth and water, earth and the human being, and any other thing living on the planet and water. Um, 70% of the earth approximately is water, and 70% of the human body is water. So there has to be a connection. This Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto was one of the first ones to actually discover this connection. What he did was one of the first experiments that he started with was he spoke to three jars of water. To the first jar of water, he said, "You're a good jar of water." To the second one, he said, "You're a bad jar of water." And to the third one, he just ignored. A month later, when he froze the water particles and he saw the crystals, he saw that the good jar of water looked like possibly one of these beautiful crystals. The bad jar had like this black color algae in it, and the jar that he ignored had a green color algae in it. He took the experiment further and he started using words that we use in daily basis like honesty, hope, um, I can't do it and I can do it. And when he froze the water and he saw the crystals, you can see these beautiful crystal particles that come. He did another experiment. He took water from a dam and he froze it immediately. And the image that you see on the top here, this one precisely, yeah, that was the water originally. And after Buddhist prayers, the water changed into that crystal, that beautiful crystal form. So he started believing that water has the capacity of carrying information. He took it a stage further and he called one jar of water Hitler and another jar of water Mother Teresa. And the extreme rightmost images are the variant of that. So he sort of proved that water carries information, it carries memory, it carries data. Now, this is one of my favorite maps of this particular region because you don't see the man made boundaries, you just see the flow of water. Now, water for years and millenniums has been flowing from two of the largest civilizations, two of the fastest growing economies, two of the most populated countries today, has been flowing all the way around into Bangladesh, not Bangladesh primarily, the Bengali region, and from there into the ocean. So there has to be some significance to this, right? Like that water has to have some sort of influence. And my experience in Bangladesh, you can actually see it there. You can see that impact of the water in the culture, in the way people appreciate art here, the way people appreciate music, the way people live for the day and that they are happy, the way they can think. Um, I've been part of a lot of these celebrations. I've lived here for 2 years. 4 years ago, I was part of once painting the road for Pela Boshak, and the excitement that happens at night while doing this is amazing. The kite festival, how it's celebrated, the folk fest and the classic fest, how people come in numbers, how they interact, how they spend the entire night there and the next morning go to work. To test my theory, I did some exhibitions in Bangladesh. I actually gave a similar talk like this and converted a bus into a public space, which was more used for artistic practices, for music, for singing. The bus on the right on the top is from the Chittagong University, and the buses down are from the Mymensingh Krishi University. They still run as art spaces. And after the talk, I just gave them the creative freedom. I said, "This is a bus. These are the paints. Go ahead, do whatever you want." In the Mymensingh bus, they even removed the seats and they converted into a beautiful art gallery. The fact that it still continues shows that that cultural strength that one has here is amazing. It's something to be cherished. Um, Rafuddin Ahmed put it really nicely. He said that yesterday a Bengali Muslim might have identified himself as a Bengali Muslim today, as a Muslim tomorrow, as a Bengali, day after as a Bengali Muslim. So there is this chaotic identification problem in the identity of who a Bengali is. But at no stage can he ignore the fact that he belongs to a territorial identity, which is not, which surpasses the man-made boundary. And this territorial identity is not the identity of the land, it's actually the identity of the waterscape. This area is not a landscape, it's a waterscape. It's water guides it, water has built it. The land that you see today has been created by the flow of water here. Um, Today, I'm back here after 4 years, one master's in sustainable design and a pandemic. And I have some concerns. I constantly follow the news. I'm very well aware of what's happening here. The image on the right, so this is an abstract expression. So the image on the right, what you see is how I saw a Bengali mind. It's creative, it's happy, it's enjoying, it's in the moment, it's inspired. My concern why I'm here today is the image on the left. If we look at water as an anchor and what's been happening to it, there's a possibility that this beautiful territorial identity that exists in this particular area, which has given us, I think, 4 out of the 9 Nobel laureates are from this particular region, that's in threat. Um, so this is my favorite. The map on the left is my favorite, so it's going to keep coming again and again. But what I want to show here is actually Bangladesh is at the short end of the stick. It doesn't control the kind of water that is coming in from China or from India. It has no control over it. The fact that it is coming is good enough at this stage. Um, and in today's times, there are multiple concerns that come as. First is pollution. Pollution, A, from water coming in from the quality of water that comes in from these areas. Second, the pollution that is created locally within the Bangladesh water bodies. Second, the COVID pandemic taught us that pathogens and disease are something that we need to be conscious about today. And something as simple as cremating bodies and that ashes flowing in Ganga could also carry pathogens all the way to Bangladesh. So this is a major concern that comes up. And third is the buzzword right now, which is microplastics. They're there everywhere. I think in this room itself, we'd have a good 5-6 kg of microplastics amongst us and the food and the coffee that we've had. Um, Now, I have a very rough estimation of a way ahead, which possibly might and should work, and it's something we can look into as well. So, the first step in the process of controlling the quality of this, one second, I think the first step in the process of controlling this quality of water would be first to identify the flow of it. Where does it flow? Who who is impacted by it? What depth does it have at different places? Have some sort of a 3D, 2D representation which is supported by AI and machine learning processes so that there is some relevant data available. Second would be indicators. So these are 3 indicators that I know that exist, and I've sort of worked with them directly, indirectly. Unified water device is this very simple device that you put into the water. It identifies the pollutants in the water, and through Microsoft Azure Cloud, it connects it to all the other identifications, and then you understand that, okay, this pollutant has joined in or added at this particular point. Second is Microsoft has this device called Premonition, which basically uses arthropod species and data sequencing to identify any pathogens in the environment. And they've actually proved it as well that they can predict epidemics and pandemics before they happen. Things like malaria, they can predict it almost a month before it initiates. They could even, either way, okay, I'll continue next. Next is Subsea Tech Sampler. This is an autonomous device developed by Subsea Tech. And this identifies the kinds of microplastics that are there in an area. So it goes to the next stage of identifying the water quality. Um, okay, now um, after these two stages, now it's how do you, because you need to quantify this system, right? So I till today what we discuss and what we talk about is, when we talk about water credits, we talk about the consumption patterns. I want to take it a step ahead and talk about water quality credits. First, a local solution which is initially independent to Bangladesh, independent to India, where policy-based support comes in, and with the three simple methods of reduction, recycle, regeneration, and returning it. But before you return it, you assess the quality of water that is going back in these three factors, so that you know what exactly you are sending back into the environment. And there is some sort of method of penalizing or incentivizing the process. Now, once this is done, next stage would be to go towards a regional solution, where the water that is coming in from India to Bangladesh is monitored at different stages, so that one can see that, okay, like, has the local solution in India worked or not? And if India is sending bad quality of water into Bangladesh, then there should be some sort of penalization for it. It's not just about sending water, it's about the quality of water that comes, which also strengthens the previous policy. So, a system of water credits coming in, I am, and water quality credits coming in, and collaborating that with these new devices that have come up to monitor water. I'm very confident that one will be able to control the quality of water that flows into the ocean, and one will be able to protect this very unique territorial identity that exists in this particular landscape by just protecting the quality of water and using water as an anchor. Um, yep, and I'd like to end my argument or my talk with a very simple statement: responsive thought to sensitive chaos will create cosmic order. And thank you. I'd also like to thank the team and everyone from Balipara and IUB. This was amazing. Thank you. Cheers. Yes, sir.
The issue is that why are people talking about water shortage? I have no idea. Because in my book, I've addressed it. Two-thirds, as you said, 70% of the world is water, right? 66 point whatever percent.
Yes, sir.
So water is never short. Now you can say this water is saline water. But the point is, if you didn't have the sea, you wouldn't have precipitation and you wouldn't have rain.
I
And
agree, sir.
every year rain is coming. So I'm saying it can be short, up and down, if you map it for 5,000 years. So water is not a short commodity as people make it out. We have misused water and misused the direction at three levels. Firstly, the water flows when it comes, we don't actually keep it well. Secondly, we block drainages so it goes all over the place. And thirdly, is we have poisoned the aquifers, which are the filters of water. I think what you need to address in this water credits, which is fantastic, is this whole issue of natural negatives and artificial negatives to make the water credit more sellable. Because actually, if you take the water and see arsenic and fluoride, then you'll give it a negative. But actually, that's a man-made or a natural negative, one of the two. So we need to differentiate between water, which is actually positive water, and water which is negative water. Thirdly, in this, you have to actually talk about the concept of water precipitation and water falling down from precipitation. And therefore, this precipitation, dew, mist, that whole water cycle is not addressed at all. We are only talking about water from the rivers and the taps.
I agree,
So
sir.
I would request you to address it. I'm not a scientist, but from what little I'm giving you a managerial perspective to it. I hope that helps.
I agree, sir. It will. Especially the part between natural negative and positive negative. I think that's something that needs a lot more study into, because one doesn't know what kind of minerals will be positive and negative. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karmananda, and everyone for joining with us. Thanks for your time, patience, and presence here today. Before wrapping up today's event, I would like to thank everyone who has been with us today. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Thank you so much.